Hi guys, this is a new episode. Today we do a little bit of quick update on my vlogging setup, and also we're gonna talk in general about the gear acquisition syndrome. I think this past month, October and November, we had lots of press releases and some very innovative, very impressive products released. We need to talk about them. Yeah, I'm just try to keep it simple and precise. So first, the gear drew my attention was the Tamron 35 to 150 length. It was very impressive. F2 at the wider end and f2.8 at 150 mil. It is really useful. I can see it becomes really popular in the future for a certain type of photographer, and to some extent videographer, less so, but to some extent videographers as well. However, a lot of YouTubers and YouTube review videos try to render the lens as all-in-one, do-it-all lens, which I think it's quite opposite. It's a specific lens for specific purposes. It's not a general purpose lens. When I talk about general purpose lens, I'm talking about things like a Canon RF 24 to 105, 24 to 240. The Nikon would be the Z24 to 200, the Tamron on the E mount 28 to 200. Those are all-in-one lens. You carry them all around, so one lens does it all. It's a little bit departure from the older DSLR version of the 35 to 150, f2.8 to f4. You might think, oh, it's only one stop of light at either end and it gets heavier and more expensive and all that, but it's not. If you think about it, the size of the lens, the center of gravity, and the bulk, the weight, has made this new lens, the 35-150 new lens, it's so imbalanced on a normal A7III, A7R3, R4, or A9, A92 bodies, or even A1 bodies without the vertical grip, right? It's 1,100 grams. We used to laugh at Canon launch that 28 to 70 f2, and now Tamron has done the same thing. It invented a lens no one or very little demand. No one has asked for, basically. If you think about it, f2.8 from 70 mil all the way to 150 kind of replace your 70 to 200 f2.8 with a little bit less reach, right? It's very useful in weddings, events. It's very useful in that particular purpose, particular application. But it's not a general purpose. And who want to carry around a 35 f2? Even you have f2 at 35 and f2.2 at 50 mil, it's no big deal. I can have a lens this small. Yeah, grab it. I can have a lens this small and tiny to get 50 mil f1.8. So f2.2, how big deal is that? I can put in my pocket with 2-3 primes to do that job. So, in my opinion, it's specifically for people who need a 70 to 150 at f2.8 constant aperture for more than, say, 30% of their photography or videography. Then that lens can be a really useful lens. For everyone else, where we use 24 to 70 as 90% and 5% on the ultra wide end, 5% on the longer end, that lens is not for you. That's all I want to say about this lens. Moving on, the next one is A7IV. Obviously, it's impressive, right? It is better almost every way. However, what I want to point out, I think this one is less misunderstood by the YouTuber reviewers. A lot of people have pointed out that, but I want to say that is A7 III was a milestone, a remarkable release almost 4 years ago. But this one is a mild improvement, right? If you think about it, the biggest improvement in the photography side are the new sensor, right? It might have better resolution. It might not. To be honest, compare A7R3 and A7III. I don't think 33 million pixels gonna make much of a difference compared to 24. Yeah, that's just my speculation. I haven't touched it, I haven't used it, but from all the information I gathered, it's not a gigantic leap forward. And on the video side, it's been said hundreds of times, 4K 60 is a heavy crop, and 4K 30 kind of no big deal whatsoever, and 10-bit 420 is kind of new normal, right? So if you put in the perspective of what's available today and what's going to be available in the next 3-4 years, don't forget this is a new release for Sony, so they're gonna hang on this as their entry level for the next 3 years at least. So I don't think it's very competitive, not at this price at least, right? If you think about R6 was criticized a lot for its pricing, but R6 has its, its tricks, right? R6 can do 20 frames per second. R6 can do, non-crop 4K 60, and R6 have C-Log 3, 10 bits as well. So R6 actually is one of the underestimated camera of last year. I think R6 will be really strong, because on the photography side, I've said that many times, it's a plateau. For normal people, for normal photographer, even people earns a living from photography, the megapixel is not the deciding factor anymore. Only very specific application requires higher and higher megapixels. Most of the portraiture, wedding, commercial, most of the work, photography work, do not require a single frame with more than, say, 24-30 megapixels. They're fine. R6 is on the lower side, but it's fine. It's definitely fine. What it requires higher megapixel, on the other hand, now they have GFX 100S, so why not? You get a better sensor, bigger sensor, more dynamic range, and more megapixels. So it's kind of putting the full frame, high megapixel camera in a difficult position to compete, because for most people the extra megapixel were thrown away before they even edit or print, right? People always say, oh, it's future-proof. Bullshit. Future-proof means, in the future you're gonna look back and say, oh, I wish I had more megapixels. It had never happened. I think for single frame you might require better better AE, better AF, or better exposure simulation on your LCD or EVF, but you say I want the final file have more megapixel, it's really rare. So that's A7IV. I think it's, for someone who haven't owned any full frame, it's very competitive for now. But for someone already own an A7 III, it's not that a big deal. To be honest, if you sell your A7 III, you recover about $1,200, and then you have to spend another $1,300, almost double the money, to get an A7 IV. And what are you getting? If you are a hybrid shooter, all you're getting is 10 bits, right? So as I said, single picture photography, you get 9 more megapixels. It's not a big deal. And for video, A7 III was fine. The video autofocus was very good. So all you need to get is 10 bits. So you get more latitude when you do heavy color grading. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel, as a hobbyist, I feel it's not remarkable as A7 III once was, right? If you look at the competition, I think Nikon has done really well, apart from the Z9, which I actually have my reserved opinion, because it looked very, very impressive on paper, and the pricing is really low. It's a bit lower than R3, which is not even the flagship of Canon, and lower than A1, and actually does, arguably more than what A1 offers, right? It's kind of amazing. But what I'm more interested is Nikon actually got the 40mm and the 28mm, the two cheap primes. It's not because I'm cheapsteaks, because I think those cheaper primes are more important to Nikon to attract users to join their Z systems. It's nothing worse than every one of your future users are from your current users. Then you are dying, because inevitably some people will switch, right? So if all the Nikon, what I've seen in the last 3 to 5 years are all the Nikon Z system buyers are from the Nikon F DSLR user base. That's not good enough. Yeah, we talked about A7IV and we talked about the Tamron 35 to 150. What I want to talk next is the Ronin 4D. DJI is a company made giant leap forward in integration of all this technology they've been pioneered in the last 10 years. They put everything they have through to the Ronin 4D. It's very, 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 very impressive. However, that machine is certainly not mature yet, right? It's very strange decision in my opinion. Why DJI choose to do their own mount and choose to do their own full frame lens lineup? It's very difficult to do that with AF, and you compete with the best out of the best, right? Why don't they, find a lens partner, Voigtlander or Tamron or Sigma or whoever, find a lens partner, have a cine lens lineup for them, at least a prime, 16 or 20, 24, 28, 35, 50, 85, 135, and all compatible with their new camera. Now they kind of made it, it's halfway done. You can change to E mount, but then a lot of lenses won't balance. A lot of lenses won't work on that gimbal. So I think what they need the most, apart from everything else, is that gimbal's payload have to be above what their available prime lens lineup, right? They all should have, like the Panasonic, similar specs in different focal lengths, like f1.8 or even f2.4, f2.5 is fine, t2.5 for all the primes, and then they all have similar shape, diameter, and then they all have similar performance in terms of AF. Then they have people actually buy this system can have a lens lineup to use it. At the moment, it's kind of wow after the wow. What am I going to use it with? You can't put a Sigma Art prime on it because it won't balance. It will hit the back, and if you put a cheaper lens, what's the point of that full frame sensors, right? And all the other, you look at Philip Bloom's review. It's so heavy and it's so anti-ergonomic, so it made his back hurts. So I think they have problems to solve, but very, very, very impressive. As I said, $10,000 obviously is not for everyone, but I like them. I like DJI as a company. It made us feel there are companies want to innovate. Talking about that, I saw the Aperture 600 Pro X, 600X Pro Lite, very impressive, right? I like them, and they have the new Tamron range 60X. I pre-ordered them. I haven't received them yet. I'll see how I go. I may replace this this bulb, this bulb to a proper light. Yeah, that's about it. Canon being a little bit quiet this season, other than R3. Well, I think Canon got something special. Canon really, really got something special coming. I think either they will launch a very impressive video spec APS-C kind of flagship to replace both the M6 EFM mount and to kind of fill the RP's marketplace in about $1,500 range. I think they will do really well. 4K 60p and even dream about 4K 120p. If not, it'll be a high megapixel, like 30. Why 30? Because Canon's APS-C is 1.6. 1.6 by 1.6 is 2.56. And if you think about 30 and 2.56, it'll make perfect sense for almost 80 megapixel. That is a rumored megapixel count for next year's R1. So what I think is Canon gonna put that sensor in APS-C size to launch an APS-C fast readout, even a stacked flagship of APS-C, and to continue to absorb people migrating from EFM mount. Even Canon never announced, they will never announce EFM mount is dead, but we all know it's dead. So I think it's something I even look forward to. I might use my RP just for photography, and I will buy APS-C with good quality 4K with dual pixel autofocus, no overheating, and fast readout, less jello-y effect. I think it'll be really, really good. If you think about it, for video, you actually don't want too shallow depths of field. That's why I choose this 16mm f2.8 with digital stabilization, because it gives you around about 18mm field of view, but f2.8 don't give you too much shallow depths of field. You look at the light behind me, the wall behind me, they're all blurred, but they are not overly blurred into a toner, right? So I look forward to Canon's New Year's release. I think it will be in January or latest February. And then obviously we can sneak peek what R1 might like from the readout speed and the processor and all that thing. Yeah, that's the update for today. That's all I have for you guys. And I got one more accessory coming, which will solve the problem, with this mic and the other mic I use, the Line Audio CM4. I will find a way to use the mic on camera all the time instead of just hand hold it, or I'll jack it up, I'll mic it up, but then I'll find a way to mic it up all the time. Let's see, look forward to next week. I'll update how my journey of vlogging setup will keep improving and keep tweaking and until I find my comfortable setup. Bye for now. See you guys. Thank you very much for watching.